novice gardener. It's taken me a few years to figure out my true garden identity, and I finally came up with it. Coastal cottage gardening style. Now I'm off to my local nursery for some inspiration, so come with me. I want to see if I can find some cottagey looking plants that would do great in my shade garden. So they only had 2 of these nettles, and my plant bed is kind of large, so I was thinking I used these heucheras once in a flower box, and it did okay. It was kind of eaten by snails because we have a lot of snail problems in our area, but I'm going to ask the head desk to see what to do. These are Japanese anemone, indispensable perennial for late summer and fall color. Okay, you guys, these are just some of my haul, and I was really excited because they had some flowers that grow well in part shade. I was searching what kind of shade-loving flowers I could plant in this bed that would not take up that much water, because that really is a concern of mine living in Southern California. Because some of these beautiful plants that I love in a cottage garden we see in England or back east, but they take a lot of water. So I have to be a little bit careful about that. For me, a cottage garden is a relaxed planting of bountiful, beautiful flowers, and it's got a sense of humor, a little touch of whimsy and surprise, and lots of color and texture. But first, it's time for an unboxing, something that gave me the inspiration for this cottage garden bed in the first place. Wicker garden edging, I love it. And for me, that's one way I can bring in that cottage beach look. So here is the garden bed. The 2 things you see here, this bush tree and this leaf plant, I have to look it up what that is. Those 2 things I inherited in this garden, and they just popped up. I don't have the strength right at the moment to dig this thing out. I really need to think about what I want to put in its place, and for right now I'll just trim it back a little bit, prune it, and it'll just remain in this bed. So I want to show you the plants that I picked out, and let me just kind of lay them out loosely to give you an idea of what I'm thinking. I got these anemone that need part sun, part shade, and the nursery guy at the nursery told me I should try to put them in the bed where it will get the most sun. So that actually in the morning is here. I think this one is going to be purple. So I've got white and I've got purple. And then I got 2 of these, and these are the spotted dead nettles, and the guy at the nursery said that these do pretty well with the least amount of sun. Then I got these adorable heuchera lime marmalade. I'm just gonna play around with it. I absolutely fell in love with the Japanese forest grass. It's just the texture and the way it moves in the wind. I also love that it does well in partial and full shade. A note of caution about the Mexican petunia. The nursery did not tell me that they tend to be invasive in my area. Kind of bummed about that. So I'm going to keep them in my flower bed for now, but I'm going to put them in a pot. That way I can contain and control the roots from taking over the bed. Okay, I have cleaned out the bed of any plants that I don't want. There are a lot of roots, so I cleaned those out. I amended the soil with gypsum and a little bit of the perlite. You can see the white in the soil right now. And that's just gonna help loosen up my clay soil. It's pretty hard clay here. To reduce plant shock, I'm adding organic starter fertilizer into each of the planting holes. Part of the bed in the morning gets more light than others. So the plants that need a little bit more light are going to be grouped in that location of the bed. And basically I want to kind of keep the cluster of plants, of like plants together. And I feel like that's going to give it that cottage garden feel. Okay, it's time to put up our wicker edging. This kit gives you little black zip ties, and because the one panel is not long enough to edge the front bed, I'm just gonna hook two together. I marked where I need to cut to make this edging a little shorter, and I already did one side, so I know that regular garden shears work just fine. But what I need to do, since I'm cutting right here, is just to make sure that I attach zip ties along here to make sure that these loose twigs don't start to fray. Okay, the edging is in. Let's take a look at my new coastal cottage garden. I wanted a touch of whimsy, so I brought my llama planter that has been growing burrowtail succulents. Thank you so much for being with me here at Nutshell Living. I sure appreciate the company. Stay tuned for more small space tips and tricks. See you next time.